All right, everybody.
Buddy.
It is breaking news with Lisa M. Gunshore and Michelle Snelling, because we were speaking all throughout the day today, and many, many things have occurred that was like, holy shit stuff. I mean, really, for lack of a better term. So welcome in, everybody. I see lots of you guys are already joining in the live. I would love to hear from all of you how you're feeling. We have lots and lots and lots to talk about. So I don't even know where we start, because it really is, here we go. That's what I think. I channeled that transmission from the Sacred Council of Light yesterday, and I was like, there's a lot going on, and we're just only beginning. Where are you at, Michelle? Where should we start?
Well, just to say that I was just saying to you that it's after all these years, it's still surprising to me when I'm feeling a certain way for a few days or a day or whatever, and I don't know why. It's like there's nothing I can point to in my immediate life that makes sense. And then things happen after, and I'm like, oh, this, now I understand. And just with the conversation that we had with, which I'll let you begin with what happened, because your story is kind of what started this.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so here's what happened, everybody. So to give you context, in January, my fire alarm in my house chirped 3 times, like if you're running out of battery, but it only chirped 3 times at 5 o'clock in the morning. My husband always keeps a journal of everything. He wrote it down, and both of us are like, something happened. Well, what happened was we found out about a month later that the house that we've been renting, our property owner, passed away tragically. It was a tragic accident, and he passed away the day that fire alarm chirped. Okay, now Michelle and I are both mediums. We're both psychic mediums. We're used to paranormal activity, but I don't know about you, Michelle, when it hits at home, not just close to home, but at home, it's definitely like, whoa, This stuff is real. And it's affecting my own personal life. It's not just connected to someone. So that's the context.
Yes.
So not last night, but the night before. So it would have been Tuesday night, right? Yeah. No, Monday night. Monday night, we were all home. Kids are here this week. 11:09. All the fire alarms, not one, all of them in our house went off at the exact same time for 30 seconds and then shut off. Scared the crap out of us and the kids. Like, everybody was like, oh my God. And both my husband and I are like, oh man, is it our property owner who's, we've actually purchased our home, and it was this beautiful gift that came out of this horrible, tragic thing. And that happened recently. So the first thought that ran through my mind is, well, maybe he's, sounding this alarm because we completed what we're doing with the house. But that didn't resonate with me. And it really kind of bothered me, because I felt like it had nothing to do with the property owner who initially chirped. And it was like an alarm. Like, it was like a full-on alarm. And
all of them at the same time. I just have to say, that's part of it as well. It's like, it wasn't just the one chirping in near you guys in your room or whatever, but all of them at the same time. That's purposeful.
It totally is. So all of them went off. All of them shut off. Nothing happened since. Certain it's spiritual. So I looked at it. I went to the astral plane. We all got the kids to bed, went to the astral plane, and I looked. And again, I really do apologize to property owner, because it's a terrible analogy, but it's the best one that I have. So what I saw is essentially our property owner was like a rat that chewed a cord into the fire alarm system energetically. So what I saw was he's created whatever he did to shift the energy field so he could utilize the fire alarm to make those sounds when he passed. It's now created like this energy portal where spirits can come in and make these noises. So I felt when I saw that, oh God, for the next, 50, 60 years of my life, hopefully, if I live to be 100 or 110 or whatever, this fire alarm is going to go off when there's a problem. And what bugged me was I felt like it was an alarm to something that's going to happen. Now, I don't like to generate fear. That's against universal law. So we're not going to leave anybody feeling fearful today. But I do want to say, like, I do want to be serious in saying that we are headed into a time in which I feel the next 4 to 6 weeks are going to be quite intense. Mm-hmm. And yesterday I was called and pulled into trance to speak to the Sacred Council and pull some transmission information, which goes to my membership community. And when I did that, I felt like, ooh, this is like the first transmission of many, and perhaps things are going to start to happen. And I also looked at my channel predictions from November for June and July and August. And I was like, OMG, there's a lot of stuff going on, and we can talk about some of that. So anyway, so all of that, I was already like on edge. So today, my husband texts me, and there was a fireball over our house. Luckily, I did not see it and I was exhausted. I was nauseous. I was fatigued. And it turns out, and let's see if I can figure out how to do this, Michelle, now with this share screen business. Yeah, here we go. So turns out, here's my share screen. Okay. Oh, you can see my lovely calendar behind that. But let me see if I can, wait, let me see. You can tell this is on the fly here. So let me close my calendar because you really don't need to see that. Okay. So what happened was this afternoon, an airplane flew over our house, hit some kind of electrical thing is what they're saying. And this is like literally, I don't know, 4 minutes from my house right here. And a plane crashed and 2 people were tragically killed. So that is what happened today. So I am absolutely certain that the fire alarm at our house was alarming us to what was going to happen today. Mm-hmm. And so now let's cut to you, Michelle, because the story has only begun.
Yes. So you called to tell me because you said this is so weird. You would understand this. You're a medium. So you shared the story. And when you were telling me, I felt this tingling, like this knowing in my belly. I don't know how to, it wasn't like a pit. It was just like activation in my belly of the energy. And I thought, well, that's weird. And I thought, well, I must just be connecting because that's such a powerful thing that happened with the owner, the previous owner, the fire alarms, the crash, the people passing, like the portal in type of a thing, right? Mm-hmm. I thought that was it. So then about a few hours later, my daughter calls and says, oh my gosh, are you guys home? Have you seen the fire? And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, there is a huge fire. So we live on this main, we are in a subdivision that's on this main artery in town. And I should have sent the one that was close up, but you can see those flames. They're like huge, more than 50 feet tall. And that wasn't even when they were at the tallest, but that was about 2 minutes from my house, 3 minutes from my house. And I've never seen a fire like that in person. But the minute that I saw it, I started crying, and I knew like this is what all the anxiety that I've been feeling for the past 2 days is about, because I've just been anxious, like worrying about things. And I'm not a worrier. And I told Lisa like a few weeks ago, I've been having some weird worry stuff, but it went away. So mine wasn't necessarily psychically connected, although I think it is in a weird, you know what I mean, with us. But I didn't have like a warning like you did, other than my body giving me this anxiety and just feeling like I can cry at any moment, and that I'm, really emotional. But is it okay, Lisa, if I talk about why I feel like I was crying when I saw it?
Yeah.
Because this is part of the anxiety. Everything that you're saying about your transmission, all the things that have been going on, the things that I've been feeling like June's going to be a challenging month. I'm talking across the board. June is a challenging month, but the real heavy lifting stuff's going to come in July and in August. And the reason that I think that I was so emotional when I saw that fire is because I feel like everything is so unbelievably out of sorts. Like nobody can get grounded.
Mhm.
Not nobody, but people don't even know how to get grounded now. And
Mhm.
it just feels like the more that we can do, the better. Like this week, I have been getting up early and going outside and just walking in my grass back and forth in my backyard barefoot, because that's like the only thing that will really bring me grounding, and I've never had to do that before in my life. Like anytime up until now, I could get grounded like that just with breath or, sitting silently for a bit. But I mean, I have had to really pull out the different stuff now. And so I think that, I think we're on here to give this message to people, not to bring fear, not to scare, but to bring the message of hope and like our part in it. Like the more of us that can really, ground in and get grounded and stability. I keep seeing a tree. I've been seeing a tree for like 3 weeks now, So anyway, that's a long spiel.
Well, but it's important what you're saying, and I think that was part of why we thought we just got to come on and talk about it, because I can see just from the comments, I'm going to share some of you guys' comments, but we're not the only ones feeling this way. And I think that's what we've learned, and that's been my struggle, Michelle, and for all of you guys watching, is like our responsibility to our gifts. Because we do notice synchronicities, we do have paranormal activity, we do have themes that come up in our readings with clients, we do have these things. I was like, well, what do we do with this? Because no one wants to, I don't want to be that psychic or channel or medium who goes on and gloom and doom and scares people. I hate that stuff. I hate it so much. I really want us to stay positive, but I also want us to be real. And I think that what both Michelle and I felt, and I'm speaking for you, Michelle, but I think what we both felt when you text me and said, oh my God, now look what's happening at my place. It was like, okay, there's like something to be acknowledged here. There is energy to be acknowledged. There's something happening. There's something going on. Now look at these. I mean, look at this. So Tracy, a boat exploded on the Lake of Ozarks yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah. And let's see here. I know, Tracy. I'm going to go back here to and welcome in everybody. Welcome. Susan says, what a ride we're on. No kidding.
Yeah.
And then Tracy's saying it has been so weird, but theirs started on Monday. And let me go back in here. And Nina is
anxious.
Yep. And Carrie talking about the fireball in the sky. Yeah. And there's been a couple fires, and I saw a helicopter right over here getting water, but I don't know if it was for the plane crash or if it was for something else. And Cheryl, our resident herbalist, saying, I'm feeling this too, and fires have been coming to my mind. Jeff, traveling in the morning, we will definitely send you blessings for that for sure. And thank you, Anita. Thank you for talking on how you work through this. Often not talked about topic. Yeah. And so what I want to bring up, and we have time, and listen, I've emailed all of the astrologers I know, like while we were in here, to see if any of them can pop in. But if any of you guys out there want to pop in here, just put it in the chat box if you want to share. But let me see if I can share.
Can I say one more thing real quick?
Yeah, do it.
So my husband and I drove towards the fire, which is an insane thing to do because you should never do that, right? But
right.
Because my husband works for public utilities here in where we live in Salt Lake City, and there's a construction project over there, and he just immediately knew that was part of the problem, and he was worried about hydrants and things like that. But the thing that kept coming to me is we have to be mindful more now than ever of doing our due diligence, of getting things completed. And I'm not just talking about, the day-to-day stuff, but the day-to-day stuff, like making sure our fire alarms are up to snuff and that they're working, and making sure that we have, the things that we need to do our daily life. And just like, I'm not explaining it well, but just like, we cannot assume that anybody is going to do anything for us. You know what I mean? We can't assume that anybody, our government, other people, we can't assume that people are going to take care of stuff. Like, we have to be ready. That's what I just keep feeling. So, and I want to say one more. Hi, I'm sorry. I don't want to.
Go, Michelle, go.
I just want to say also, like, with you saying we don't want to bring the doom and gloom, we're not the news. We're not here to bring that fear and that doom and gloom. We're here to bring you the education and the awareness. That's a whole different thing. So,
yes. Hi, Kate.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Welcome in. I'm glad you could jump in with us on our crazy live breaking news that we are doing right now.
Yeah. I've been with clients all day, so I don't even know what the breaking news is, but.
Well, that's good. I'm going to bring you up to speed. So here's what happened in a nutshell. A plane crashed over my house today, and like literally 4 minutes from my house. But the context of this, I just told this crazy story, but our fire alarm in our house went off. Definitely a paranormal event Monday night. And so I feel that was telling us about this crash. And literally, I told Michelle, in like an hour, not even an hour later, she has a huge fire that broke out down her street. And then we also have somebody here. Where's Tracy's message? Tracy said a boat just exploded on Lake of the Ozarks yesterday. And I think the general consensus right now is Michelle and I felt like we need to pay attention to this energy, and we need to go live, and we need to talk about this because stuff is going on. And I was like, oh my God, I'm emailing the astrologers I know because information to educate us, because I know there's so much going on. And my channel transmission yesterday, the next 6 weeks, it just feels intense. So I would love to know. I know we all would love to know, Kate. I'm so glad you popped in.
I know, right?
Like, what is going on? What's the like what's happening so that we know what's going on? Because it's just fireballs today everywhere.
Yeah. Well, the big story of 2021, last year, 2020 was all about Saturn, Pluto. And this year it's all about Saturn, Uranus. So we've been here before, and I'll list some dates. We could go back to 1987 to 1989. We were under this energy. We could go back to 1998 to 2001. We could go to 2008 to 2010, and now 2021 to 2022. So when we look back to those years, we can think of some pretty crazy things that happened. So Saturn is structure. Saturn is what we know. Saturn is the predictability. Saturn is the laws, the rules, the things that kind of keep us safe because they're the known. And Uranus is chaotic. Uranus is represented by like the lightning bolt. Things happening so quick that how did that even happen? I didn't see it coming. So we could go back to, 1998, 2001. We had the Y2K scare. We had the housing market crash, which here we are on the other side of it. We're having housing issues. We go back to that was 2008, but we had the World Trade Center happen under this. So it puts us out of our comfort zone. So I've been tracking the news just with what's going on with the shortages, with the homes, the cars that are sitting here with no chips in them, because it breaks everything that we've known. We elected a Black president under this degree. Things that maybe people thought I would have never seen that in my lifetime, things that hadn't been norm. And then it makes it normal. It makes it, you realize this can happen. So that's the big story. And we just had the second conjunction of it this week, June 14th. So we had one earlier this year, which was when we saw the crazy thing with GameStop. We saw the electric grid issues in Texas, restrictions around technology, and things happening very, very fast.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Oh, I just have a question. So these record temperatures that we're seeing in the West, right? Because this is like suddenly we're the hottest place on Earth, I guess.
Yep.
So is that connected to that as well?
That can be connected to that as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm sitting in Las Vegas right now, and it's 117. So And I was born and raised in Las Vegas, so this isn't, it's not that I'm not used to the desert, but this is something that a little too uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's 101 here in Denver today, and it was 104 yesterday, which that's pretty high for Denver. I mean, that's not our normal MO. And we've had some grass fires. There was an oil fire also. And I want to talk about the Schumann. I've had several discussions now on this show about the Schumann, and everybody has a different opinion about what it means. So whatever it means, every time I feel fatigued and nauseous and yucky and like I don't want to do anything, it's high. And let me see if I can pull this up on our makeshift news station we have today. Maybe. Okay, well, let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on, girls. Keep talking. Let me pull it up. Oh, here it is. Okay, I got it. So Schumann, of course, is high again. And a lot of the concept around the Schumann resonance is the amount of light entering the planet. And what's fascinating to me is that the Sacred Council, oh no, did I freeze? I froze. Am I back?
You're back. Yeah.
Okay, so the Sacred Council of Light literally went into this whole thing in the transmission yesterday about the photon belt from the Pleiades. And but this is Schumann right now, everybody. Like, yikes. So this is the last few days. So it's bounced, which 23 is still pretty high, and 24, but it's at 68 right now. And you can see the amount of light coming into the planet. Some people say that the solar flares are more important than this, and that's fine. But whatever it all means, that is going on as well, which I think is impacting us too.
Well, how can it not? We're all energy. Every single being on this planet is made of energy. So anything that happens energetically is going to affect us, right? I mean, that's how I feel about it. I think Albert Einstein said that, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like one thing might affect somebody else differently, but I think we're all affected by the stuff, the Schumann resonance, the, Saturn and Uranus doing their thing, whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Kate, I'm curious, Kate. So I know we're out of the eclipse portal, but I also know we're in like the post shadow. So is that also like, what's going on with that now? Are we almost through that? Is this part of it? Is this separate?
I would separate that personally. I feel like we've all just been through it. So if you've had some aha moments here in the last 30 days, pay attention to it, because I do describe it almost as a download. When we talk about the eclipse, think of what the term eclipse means, right? That something eclipsed something. So I'd like to give the example of like you're at your best friend's wedding. We're celebrating this love affair. And then the bridesmaid gets up to, or the groomsman gets up to do a speech and proposes to, someone in the audience. That eclipsed the wedding celebration. So for all of us, we might have thought we were on the right path. I know how this is going to go. And then we get new information that changes the direction. So that's over. We have to talk about Mercury still in retrograde. I know it's kind of played out, but that's happening. And then here, just in a few days, we're going to see Jupiter retrograde back to Aquarius, which I think will be interesting. Jupiter has been in Pisces, which is very rose-colored glasses, which, we've all kind of opened up. We're not wearing masks, not to take it back to that, but just we're acting like everything's so good. I have rose-colored glasses on, so when it moves back into Aquarius, I am a little, I'll say, concerned about us maybe getting a little spanking, maybe have to put some regulations back in, or at least it'll be back in the news, because it's been pretty quiet just with what's going on with the numbers and how people are being affected.
Yeah.
Well, and Lisa, you were saying the other day that you woke up and thought, gosh, I hope people don't forget. You know what I mean? So whatever it is about, I mean, the little, it's like the rose-colored glasses. We don't want to think that, oh, we're back and it's all perfect now. You know what I mean? Like, there's still work for us to do.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think it'll go back to as strict as it was, but I just think like maybe news will start coming back up about, the second shot that needs to be taken, or maybe people might start, wearing the mask again on their own accord, just by seeing news things come up about it. So
that's interesting, Kate, because my the predictions for the month that I pulled said that while some places are opening up, that there may still be lockdowns that unexpectedly appear, and that some of them may not have to do with the virus itself. So I'm very interested in that information astrologically, because that lines up with what I was getting. Is in some places, what they said was some places there'd be celebration and opening, and other places there would be unexpected shutdowns.
Yeah.
And that also relates, I think, to a lot of what you're talking about, the technology, the cyber attacks and the power outages and the things that are happening. I think we're all waiting for some kind of power outage. Like,
yes.
I think that's coming, but I continue to be told by the council that it is not going to be this long-term thing. So whatever happens feels short-term. So that's coming up too.
Really strong June 21st to November 9th. I'm sorry, October 19th. Sorry,
Okay.
June 21st, October 19th is when Jupiter will be in retrograde. And then it will be out, and then, but Aquarius is going to put us back into place.
So the Jupiter in retrograde is when we're going to have the rose-colored glasses.
No, we've been under the rose-colored glasses. Jupiter's currently in Pisces, which they're like...
Oh, that was the rose-colored glasses.
Yeah,
okay.
They're like BFFs. So it's all about, things opening up, expansion, maybe not seeing everything. And so when it moves back into Aquarius here, when it retrogrades, that's when I feel like we might get a little bit of a wake-up call.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's happening on July 2nd? Because I keep getting there's going to be an event on July 2nd, and I'm very curious about what's coming up there.
Interesting. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything in particular. That's not a date that's on my radar.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. For some reason, it keeps like swirling in my hemisphere, this July 2nd date. Cheryl's sharing, for those of you who don't know, Cheryl's our resident herbalist. We have a whole show about herbology, but she's also a channel and a psychic. And she is also saying she's seeing power and internet outages. And we've already seen some of these cyber attacks. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more.
And did you hear Southwest was grounded? Their entire system went out. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and it's like hard to tell, like, okay, is that Mercury retrograde or is that Saturn Uranus? But I'm putting it more on the Saturn Uranus, because Saturn is power, Saturn's authority. And you think, oh, a big company like that couldn't go down, right? We think of them almost as invincible. So that's that Saturn Uranus at work.
Wow, look at this. My work had a complete power outage today, damaged equipment on the roof, and got sent home early.
Yeah.
It's wild out there.
Wild. It is legit wild.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and Lily said she's been getting card messages to ground for a couple of weeks now, which, like I said, I just think that is what the message for me has been for myself and the, in general for a while, is we just have to get grounded and grounded and grounded. And we've got to be really mindful. Like the message that I keep getting as well for myself, and again, for in general, is we have to pay really close attention. This is kind of what I was talking about with the details earlier of things. Like we have to know what affects us and what doesn't. And, things, we can't just go along our merry way thinking, oh, this stuff doesn't bother me, or going here won't bother me, or I figured out how to protect myself in crowds or whatever. You know what I mean? We just have to be really mindful, really careful, and do our due diligence to be the best that we can be right now. Like it's our responsibility. So,
yeah.
Well, go ahead, Kate.
I was just going to say, all of this that we've been experiencing has really been preparing us for the Pluto return of the USA. So that's something as a country we've never experienced before. The exact date is February 22nd, 2022. So I'm not saying anything has happened.
Oh my God, Kate.
What?
Both Michelle and I have daughters that's their birthday.
Oh, really?
2/22.
Okay.
No joke. Both of us do.
Okay.
So
that's wild.
Exactly.
Well,
oh my God. And it's George Washington's birthday. That's crazy.
Oh my gosh. How cool is that? So the thing is, Pluto takes 258 years to get around the whole wheel. So it's the first time the US has gone through this. Pluto's close enough now that we're feeling it, right? Pluto is a rebirth. It's the idea that before and after, that's what we used to look like. This is what we look like now. And Pluto brings things to the surface. So we can see the last couple of years what's happened, right? We've started kind of rewriting our history, acknowledging holidays that we've been celebrating that maybe we've been celebrating them incorrectly. We've seen people of color rising. We've had to have really tough conversations around things that we were raised with that maybe weren't right. So we're seeing it, but there should be some sort of rebirth that the country goes through when we see that. I've tried to track other countries that have gone through this to see, okay, other countries have been around longer. How did they go through their Pluto return? And it's really hard to find other countries that have been through it that have the same name, the same borders, or the same sort of ruling, like government / yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. This is all preparing us for it. So I think to your point, just we have to stay open and be ready for change.
Yeah. Well, and I think, again, just to remind everybody, like our whole point today isn't about generating fear, but about being real, that there's really stuff going on. And I think what I keep getting is that the agenda to create fear is going to ramp up. So our ability to stay in trust of the divine, of God's source, of what is happening, and to stay grounded in our bodies is the difference. We talked about before, and I know Mary Lydia Ryan's watching, and she and I have talked about the ability to respond. Responsibility is the ability to respond. Our response to the next 6 weeks and beyond is everything. So I think that's what I want to get across to everybody today, is to let's acknowledge there is stuff going on. We want to pay attention to it. And there are things coming down the pipeline, but to stay out of the fear and to stay connected as a community. I think that's what's so beautiful about Ajata Casa is we have each other. And we just have to stay connected with each other, through this time period, and remind each other to go out, like Michelle said, walk around, and feel the trees and be outside and be grounded. Sorry, I think I'm breaking up I'm seeing my computer break up, but maybe I'm not.
I hear you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because I don't like to use astrology I don't want people to be afraid after they talk to me. I want it to be used as self-awareness, and maybe just to reaffirm what you're already feeling. So you're thinking, I'm not crazy. I'm feeling the transition. I'm feeling the change. Why? And then the astrology piece can really come in to help guide what you're feeling.
Yeah. I want to share a little bit with you ladies and with everybody out here what is in my July prediction. So what happened was last November, I pulled all my predictions for each month for the whole year so that we had a little bit of a guide. And for the month of July, it says major focus on legal, political issues and financial economic issues this month. Again, this is for July, so this is upcoming. There is compromise within legal issues and political concerns. The energy of politics and legal issues that are mainstream feel relentless but are coming to a head, and possible arrests this month of importance. Crime is uncovered and wrongdoers are held accountable. Violence and protests are possible again in the month of July. This could be a resolution to an ongoing situation. So I want to share that because I think there's a lot going on with the election audits, and there is a lot of information on both sides. There's discussions of arresting the auditors, there's discussions of what the auditors are going to find. And so when I read that, that's part of what comes up. But I think there's a lot more than that too that's going on. I don't know what if you ladies get any hits or thoughts when I read all of that, but there's definitely some stuff happening coming up.
I think for me, I try to stay out of the news as much as I can because as a barrier type, a boundary type thing. But when we talk about something like Saturn Uranus that's going on, we are all are going through it on a personal level, but for it to shake up our world so much, I do feel like it has to come from these major events that happen. Like when we look at the crash, the housing market crash in 2008, 2009, when we look at the falling of the trade centers, like those were big things that then trickled down and changed us. So it wouldn't surprise me that there would be some sort of mass change, something that comes to light on a bigger level that then, again, it affects us moving forward, because the Saturn Uranus, it has to play out in a bigger level because it's so major.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, for me, like, I haven't done that. I mean, every once in a while I'll get a hit of something that I feel is going to come. Like I said, I just keep being told, figure out how to get as grounded as you can, because like, you think it's wonky now, hold on. You know what I mean? July and August. And so those kinds of things are what keep coming to me. And it's, it's just, what Tracy said, her comment, we've got to be grounded so that we are fully connected to the source, to the divine, so that when all this stuff happens, we're like the tree. We're flexible. We bend and we sway, but we don't topple over. We don't get swept up in all of the fear. And, and that's the only way to really answer anxiety. You can't talk yourself out of anxiety. It doesn't, that just escalates it. So the only way to deal with that is to ground.
I agree. I know I'm putting you ladies on the spot because we just sort of threw this together and we're just going with it. But I'm curious, what do either of you have some tools that you have available right now that you can share with people to stay grounded, to stay out of their space, like out of the fear and the anxiety energy? Like, what are your tools, or I don't know what I'm asking, resources, tools, meditations? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah, well, the grass thing is what has been transformative for me. Like that, I'm barefoot out there, just walking, just in my yard. But it's like, I've got to be barefoot. I've got to feel the grass. I can't just be on the sidewalk. You know what I mean? I've got to be on the grass. That's really been helping me this week. The other thing is music. I've just, different kinds of music, everything from spiritual to like real rock and get the rage out. You know what I mean? Like headbanging stuff, and of course, lots of baths. Like that has just been my go-to, so.
Yeah. I love the barefoot thing in the grass. I think also for me, I like to channel the energy, like the astrology energy that we're going through. So we're in Gemini season right now. So it's like, okay, what can we learn from Geminis that I can incorporate into my routine? And then I feel like I'm just more in sync with what's going on. And then what I said earlier, like I really don't pay a lot of attention to what's going on in the news. Some people might even find it frightening how sometimes naive I am about what's going on, but the boundaries and whatever those boundaries are for each person, whether it's people, whether it's social media, whether it's the TV, just to identify those and know that we can turn those things off. Like even when I was just a child, like my parents turned on the news at 5 o'clock and watched it for 30 minutes and turned it off. And it's not like that anymore. It is on all day through so many different mediums, through the TV, through the phone, through chatting. So put up those boundaries. And then for a resource, I run a podcast with my mom. So I try to break it down every week, what's going on from an astrology standpoint, and talk about it in just we've been here before. This is how we lived it out before. This is what we can expect as we move forward. Because I think looking back does give a lot of insight to know we survived it, right? We move forward. Does it look different? Absolutely. But it's not something it's not going to end our life. It's something that we will be able to get through.
Yeah. Kate, remind everybody what your podcast is called and how they can find it while you're on here.
Absolutely. So any of your favorite podcast apps, Mom and Me Astrology. Yeah,
perfect.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Well, and I know what comes for mind with me is last year in March, I got a very distinct message to create a meditation and teach everyone how to go to the grids around the planet in the event that there was an inability to communicate via internet or phone or whatever. And that meditation is called Meet Me in Meditation. So for everybody who's in the Ajatakasa app, if you go to the Light Library and you go to meditations, it is in there. However, what I'll do is I'll make it available on YouTube this week, because what it is it's a teaching meditation. So it's teaching you how to do it, because if there is an outage or if something happens and we're not able to connect in the Ajatakasa app, we can meet in meditation telepathically on the grids. And that is what not to sound bossy, but that's my expectation, is that that's where we're all going to go, so that we can help move whatever energy we need to move. And so I'll make that available. But if you are in the app, you just go to the Light Library in the Institute, and it's under meditations, and it's called Meet Me in Meditation. So that comes to mind for me, because it's really important that, again, let's say all the internet goes out. I really don't think that's going to happen worldwide. It feels very sporadic to me. However, if let's say that happens, our ability to connect with each other and to connect with the energy grids makes us who we are. So I think that's like the key thing, is to do that. And that's going to help pull you out of any fear or stress that you're having anyways. Because I'm telling you, I've been told this like by the Sacred Council so many times in the last month. Do not panic. Whatever happens, whatever you think is happening, whatever you're being told is happening, do not panic. Do not worry. It is okay. And we know that there are so many timelines. There's really it depends on who you talk to, but there's like 74 timelines on this planet right now. So there's many options here. And we're collectively creating. So it's not necessarily like you can predict something, but I want to be ready for those things in case. So that's what I'm saying, is go meet us at meditation when that happens, for sure. And I just love all these comments. Thank you again, Anita, who's just saying, trust in her mission. It helps to know there's a community of support. We're so glad to help that. And yes, we have a safety plan. Yeah. It's your family safety plan.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention too, the internet's going through its Saturn return. So, we go through Saturn returns as people. So around 28, 29 and a half, we go through it again in our 50s. The internet is too. So the internet should be going through a rebirthing, a new transition. So hopefully it's in the most positive way. But of course, there's growth whenever we go through transition. Sorry.
Well, and I was just going to say, that's the thing, Lisa and Kate, with, not panicking. Not panicking. If the more grounded you are, the less you're going to panic. The more trust you're going to have in the process, whatever it is. My mentor, I'm just like, this is a daily reminder for me. I think of her. She told me once that the crazier stuff gets, the more God's hands in it. And so like every day I'm like, okay, trusting your hand is in this. And you know what I mean? But I think that's important. We have to remember that this is bigger than all of us. And our job is to just stay focused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, in hopes that, how do we go to the meditation if our electronics are down? So I'll just remind you, go to it now and learn it, because it's a teaching meditation. So you only need to do it a couple times and you'll know what to do. It just is taking you to the grid. And once you know how to get there, you'll be able to find it. So just a reminder. But yeah, we just have to trust in all of this. And I think, to put like a lighter touch to the entire thing is, and I know, Kate, you've talked about this too with the age of Aquarius, and Michelle and I have talked about this, but this is just the dismantling of the old systems and a rebuilding of the new. And the rebuilding is going to be really great, but the dismantling feels very uncomfortable. But this isn't bad. What the problem is, it can be spun bad. And that's what I'm trying to say today. What I'm trying to say is real stuff is occurring that is alarming. And in addition, it's being spun into an even more alarming space. And so the whole point is, what I don't want you to do is freak out. shut off the news if you're watching it and don't listen to it, and stay grounded in your body and know what's up. Because what I think is going to happen is a lot of panic for no reason. Like, remember the Shakespearean play, and one of my favorite Kenneth Branagh movies, by the way, is Much Ado About Nothing. And that's so it. Like, there's a lot of ado about a whole lot of nothing, and has been. Mm-hmm. So you have to decide how you're going to respond to this, and that's the thing. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that's such a perfect point, because it's been much ado about nothing since the 24-hour news cycle came to be, right? There is no news, without the sensationalism. You know what I mean? Otherwise, nobody's tuning in. And so we have to remember that and always go back to our internal compass, which is the barometer, the only barometer that matters. We're sovereign beings. We know what's right for us. We know what's truth and what's BS. You know what I mean? Whether it's just our truth or not. But that's what we really need to be connecting with, because our intuition will never lead us down the wrong path, ever.
Mm-hmm.
So, and can I say, I just, in the vein of bringing hope, before we came on live, I pulled a card, and I just can't believe the card. So it's Balancing Act from the Enchanted Map deck. Okay. And it's number 11, which I think is so apropos for everything we're talking about. But I just want to read this one line, or a couple lines. Now is the moment to evaluate which areas of your life need balance, and then restore equilibrium. Choose harmony over discord, and great success will be yours. You'll find inner stability when you choose a balanced, focused, and level path. So that just goes exactly to what you were saying, Lisa. The contingency plan, this is no different than, to me, having like a safety plan with your family. In case of a fire, this is what we do. And in our case, where we live, in case of an earthquake, this is what we do. You've got to have one of those within yourself. When I start feeling anxious or stressed, or I'm overdosing on news, this is what I do to bring myself back, to get the balance, to connect to the divine, which is 11. So
love it.
I love it. Well, and that's what, this is our family community plan. And that goes back to what I said about my own responsibility. And I think Michelle and I have talked about that. And I'm sure, Kate, you probably feel the same way, is when we have these gifts and this knowledge and information that we're receiving, or things that we notice are happening, or patterns we're seeing in the energy or the astrology or any of these things, this is why we have this community. This is why Buddhist Biohacker exists. This is why Ajata Casa exists, is so that we can support each other and educate each other and be there for each other. We are a family. And I feel like it's really important for us to say, okay, we see what's going on here. So we all need to pay attention. And I have this deck, Keepers of the Light Oracle cards. It's actually my son's deck, and I have it, and he gave it to me to pull cards for this show, which I love so much. So I'm going to pull one. And Kate, you can stay with us as long as you want to, and you can go when you need to, but I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. This is interesting because Dominic actually pulled this card before we went live, and now I've pulled it. So he pulled it, and then I pulled it. But it's Carnunos, which, by the way, look how green and earthy that guy is. Yeah. And it's life force. And let me just see. I'll have to look this up here.
What a perfect card as well.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the color of my grass.
Oh my God, I love it. It says, there is a deep buildup of life force within you now, and you need to channel it into action. You may be more alert than usual. Isn't that interesting? If you have been unsure how to tie this energy into your spiritual path, know it can allow you to access the richness of your soul. And then it says, ask Carnunos to help you express your energy with integrity in a way that honors your soul. And so this is interesting because this goes back to this whole photon belt and this light energy and the Schumann resonance, because it's talking about this extra energy. So, you know, what the council said in a nutshell, because it's really just for members, but I'm going to say what they said was, you know, there is a particular photon belt, and the photons are really these quantum light packages, essentially. But what it is it's information and memories from other civilizations that have left, is what they said, that the civilization collapsed, for example, Atlantis. So right now, there's many of them, by the way, there's not just one, but right now they said the one that we're passing has a lot of the information from Atlantis, from Lemuria, and from other civilizations like ancient Egypt and some things. And so we're accessing a lot of that information. And so as I'm reading this, I'm getting a hit that part of this right now too is we just have all of these light particles coming into our space. It's like this override of energy. And what happens when the energy ramps up? Things explode, which would explain fire and plane crashes and things, because it's like things are frenetic, kind of. So that actually makes a lot of sense, but it's also very grounded, and it also has, this almost looks like the triple goddess almost.
Mm-hmm. Claire said that he's the god of the solstice.
No. Claire, you have to get in here. I sent Claire the link. She needs to get in here and come talk, because Claire had an experience. So let's go back to Jeff's comment about the 222 and the 444. So I don't know if Claire saw this, but last week, I commented, I didn't post it. I commented on somebody's post, but basically the bottom line is Cauldron, my cat, who's sleeping soundly and so sweet right now, attacked the crap out of me at 1:30 in the morning last week. And she's very sensitive to the energy. So the eclipse, the moon, she gets really wild. She got wound up. Well, then I was wide awake and I was wired. So I was the sun started to come up and I was okay, I need to look at the Schumann. Something is crazy. The Schumann was 44 and it was 4:44 a.m. So then I hope Claire comes in here. I don't care. Listen, I'm on here with this gigantic swollen lip from the sun.
Look at me, Claire.
I don't have any makeup on.
Seriously. Come in here, Claire, because Claire had a whole thing with 22 and 222. And what's weird is, so at 4:44, so I saw the 4:44, I ended up leaving my body right then and had an out-of-body experience. And I'm not talking subtle energy. Oh, good. Here comes Claire. Yay. Here she is.
Yay.
So, thank goodness, because we got to talk about the 4s and the 2s. So what happened at 4:44 is that I had this out-of-body experience, and it was Velcroing out of my body. This was not a lucid dream. This was full on, I'm out of my body.
Hold on,
I was looking. Huh? Uh-oh. So anyways, it was out of my body. I was looking at the light, and I was peering through this door with all this foliage and trees and light and everything, which has come to fruition. Many different people have had experiences that all related to this. So Claire, will you tell about your 2s?
Sure, I will. I'm headed out to dinner, so I have a minute only.
Do it.
I had a really emotional Sunday evening, and then ended it trying to go to sleep. And had some really weird, lucid dreams about being somewhere out of my body, tunnels, that sort of thing. And then at 2:22, I became nauseous and violently ill, and remained so despite the fact that there was nothing in my stomach to get rid of at a certain point. I continued vomiting violently until 7:22. Then I fell asleep shortly after 7:22, and I woke up at 12:22, and again had that out-of-body experience, and this time it was clearly desert tunnels, ultra-terrestrials coming out or in and out of the tunnels. And then I was awake to investigate 222. I feel like I purged some major things, a major shift. I've been looking into 222, And it is, like I said in the chat, balance, cooperation with the divine, with your inner divine, cooperation with your partner, a transition with your partner, whether that's a business partner, a life partner, your inner divine partner, your divine partner, trusting in your gifts and in spirit. Yeah, so that was my experience.
I love it. I mean, I don't love that you were violently ill,
No.
but
Me neither.
what is up with this week? I mean,
Yeah, it's crazy. And I totally felt that Schumann thing. That's why we were so tired and weird today.
yeah, I was really off kilter. Really, until this plane crash. It makes me wonder. Oh, look here. Look at all of our people. I love this so much. Hi, Elena.
What's up?
Oh my gosh, I love you so much. Yelena is another incredible galactic astrologer.
Yeah.
Claire, you can hop off when you need to, but I'm so glad you came in here and told us your 2 story.
All right, I'll be in the chat.
Okay.
I have to jump off to go we have dinner plans tonight, so I'm going to jump off. But thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, do it. Have a good night.
Okay,
and
okay.
now we have Yelena here, and I think Mary's going to show up. So we're just going to keep our little story
Yeah.
going. We're
Awesome.
the 24-hour news.
Right.
Well, I like that.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye, Kate. Thank you for coming.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for everything.
You're welcome.
Oh my
I didn't
gosh.
know what I was jumping onto. I was just-
Oh my gosh. So we are live. We have like this weird stuff going on today. And we decided to go live with like our own breaking news. And it's been really fun and informative. And also like, oh my gosh. So to give you an update, Yelena, what has happened is we had a plane crash by my house today. 2 nights ago, my fire alarm went off unexpectedly and very paranormally, if that's even a word. And I think it was because of this plane crash. And then shortly after, Michelle had a fire down the street from her house, this massive fire. So there's like all this fires and explosions. And I just would love to know your take, because Kate was talking about, what was she talking about? Saturn and Uranus, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I would love to hear what you have to say. But before you do, you guys get this. So one of my dear, oh my God, she is one of my dear friends, known her a long time. She just texted me, and because we were talking, Yelena, too, about power outages, possibly grid outages, things like that.
Yeah.
Well, so one of my good friends is like, dude, I just got off your YouTube and look at the alert I just got. Oh my God. So wait, here's Mary. Hi, Mary. Hi, Mary. Okay, so what I'm saying is my dear friend just got off my YouTube. She said, I just got off your YouTube show, and look what popped up. Like, look at this. I'm going to share it right now. Let's see if I can share my screen. Window. Oh, wait. Let me put it on a different screen because she doesn't need everybody to see her phone number. Okay, hold on. So this just happened in Douglas County. So I live in Douglas County. This just happened just now, code red. Due to the plane crash, the power company is taking power lines down, and we will have a total blackout for at least 1 hour here shortly. So if I lose power and I'm gone, you guys are in charge, because I may not have power. So Yelena, what do you got to say about this? Is some wild stuff. I mean, we're not trying to freak people out, by the way. I think we're past that now. I think really we want people to know what's up and to acknowledge that there's a lot of energy right now, and to be able to stay grounded, but also to be educated in what's going on. So the astrology is really important.
Yeah, well, we need to first remember that we're just now coming off of this very strong solar eclipse that we just had, which is tied in with this Mercury retrograde. And also, there's a lot of things happening too with electronics and with Uranus as well. Obviously, we just had the Saturn-Uranus conjunction, but Mercury is also getting ready to station. So when it stations, it comes to a standstill, and the energy intensifies when the planet is still, right? So during the stations to move retrograde and the stations to move direct, it will intensify everything. Things will be chaotic in terms of our electronics, in terms of our computers. literally right before I was on with you guys, I was just, I'm a teacher's assistant in an astrology academy, and I was just teaching a study session for the students. And they're like, we can't see you. Your screen's off. Like, now we can't hear you. Like, there were so many technological just challenges that I was experiencing. And then also, my astrology mentor, she was telling me she could receive so many crazy calls yesterday about rolling blackouts all over Texas. My parents were telling me about rolling blackouts that happened to them, Western Michigan, that went all the way to Chicago. And then they got an email from the Consumers Energy Company around here that said that they're going to start shutting people's power off because of heat and things. So they're just going to shut people's power off. Like, and then I'm hearing of challenges with the grid and everything like that. And, you know, it's just really shaking things up, shaking up the foundations and the structures of our society and everything that it's comprised of and everything that it's made of. And, you know, we're having like food shortages, part shortages. Plants are closing down because we can't get enough parts for vehicles. It's just, it's chaotic. Yeah. And Uranus brings chaos. So we're in it.
I don't even know what to
There's a
say.
shortage of everything. There's a shortage of everything right now. I mean, you know, you see it at the grocery stores, you see it at Home Depot. Wood has like gone up 40%, you know, the price of wood. I mean, it's crazy what's going on. Yeah, no new cars. I mean, it's weird. It's a weird time we live in.
It is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And this is, you know, we're going to have obviously Saturn and Uranus are outer planets, so they are a little bit more slower moving and their influence is longer lasting. So this influence is going to last us into July. And then, you know, things should ease up a little bit. Then we've got other things to worry about, but we'll talk about that when the time comes. And then this is going to hit us again in December. So, you know, this is just adjustments that are all being made, challenges that we're faced with. There's going to be some tension, and hopefully it'll spur growth and change, though, right? That's what we really ultimately need, is growth and change and evolution. And what better to do it than tension and craziness?
Oh my God, you're so right. I want to go over to Mary and have her say hi too, and share and jump into this conversation. But before I do, all of you guys who are watching, because there's such a great audience, and I hope we're helping and not stressing you out. But I would love to know what your questions are. I'd love to know what you've been experiencing, what you're worried about, what you're wondering about, because we can help you while we're on here. So throw those out there. And Mary, jump in wherever you want to.
Be careful sending a comment into Lisa that she showed up in your dreams, because she'll ask you to come into the live stream. It's totally what happened. But I had let Lisa know, because so she was talking a few minutes ago how she was having that out-of-body experience. And I'm like, wait, but you were in my dream last night. And she was helping me with this really intense stuff. It was pretty trippy and amazing, but she was with me. It felt like a couple of hours. So, and she probably was somewhere else too, but she was over here in Seattle helping me do this. I don't even know how to put it into words, but anyway, so I want to, thanks for inviting me in. I feel like I'm like this well, you did invite me, but it's kind of funny. You know, when you show up at your neighbor's house uninvited, you're like, oh, I was in your neighborhood. I feel like that's what's going on here. But I really, really enjoyed the conversation you had going on. And now that I'm sitting in this seat, I want to reaffirm all the things that Michelle has been saying in regard to the grounding. So that personally is what's been coming in for me too. And I feel really grateful for the tree energy. And I'm not trying to jump in your band or on your bandwagon, Michelle. It just happened.
Absolutely no.
It has been so close to home for myself. And so I think we are really being encouraged to, I know we are. Mother Nature, Gaia, the divine feminine energy wants us to be so connected with nature right now. And I am really, really appreciating the trees in my neighborhood. And I actually have made friends with one of my trees that's not far from my house. And that's a whole other hilarious story. But I go there regularly because I have learned that as I go and just sit on the tree's roots, not only do I feel more grounded, but I'm having these really magical experiences of receiving the downloads or uploads, whichever way, it's going. It's a flow of energy. And an interesting thing that happened to me a few days ago, I decided to go take a walk in a different part of town than I've been going for quite a while. And literally there was this clump of trees that were calling out to me, and I'm like, okay. So I went over, and there was this perfect little mossy seat, and I sat down on it. It was like feeling like I had just been put on a throne. I'm like, oh, you trees are so wonderful. And I'm sitting there, and I could feel my own tree friend that's back just like a block from my own home. I felt my tree friend's energy as I was sitting there in this little beautiful mossy throne that this clump of trees provided for me. And I teared up. It was the sweetest thing. And I could feel in my heart and my body recognized that they were so connected, and they had lured me in to that energy, and I felt so safe. And that's, what Michelle has been talking about, the safeties. And you, Lisa, you've been talking about, we don't need to panic. None of this is about panicking. And, I realize it's really hard when the energy gets super, super intense. It does get challenging to not just be swept up into it. And so that's the whole point of what you guys have been talking about is, what can we do? How can we do our due diligence to not be wrapped up in all the cacophony of it? We can be here like in that eye of the storm, right in the middle. I think Tracy was also talking about that. Somebody here, I apologize if I'm putting the wrong name to the comment, but it's like standing in the eye of the storm. So we're not swirling around with all of the crazy energy. We're in it. We're centered. We're grounded. And Mother Nature is our best friend for doing that right now and going down. And so not only do we have the benefit of remaining grounded when we're connecting, especially with the tree energy, it's like it's medicine. It's here for us. So we have nothing to lose by continuing to go and utilizing that gift that we have. Not only does it assist us in remaining grounded, but the magical elements that come out of it are just like off the charts amazing. So like there's no reason not to go do that for ourselves, because it will only help us in every aspect of our energetic beingness and our mental health. And so anyway, there's my 2 cents.
I love your 2 cents. When you talk about the moss, sitting on the moss, I think of Little Miss Muffet.
That's
Little
exactly
Miss Muffet.
I was thinking Mary is just the most magical little, like, fun, whimsical. Oh, I just love it.
You're the unicorn princess.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's really funny that you brought up Miss Muffet, because I've been telling Lisa also about all the amazing spider encounters in my life. And then she like has this channel from, the planet of spiders. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. No. And yeah, a week ago, I had spiders coming from my ceiling, and they were just coming down their thread and just land right in front of my face. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I am okay with spiders, but I really don't like them right in my face. And it was like every few minutes, another spider landing on me, and I was trying to go to bed, and here was this gigantic spider right on top of my comforter as I was about to fall asleep. I'm like, okay, I'm so done with this. And so anyway, I had to change rooms, but I've had a lot of spider encounters, so it does crack me up that you were talking about Little Miss Muffet.
Oh my God. Well, that I didn't even think about the spiders when I said Little Miss Muffet. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, because Yelena, in case you missed it, I met a galactic spider this week. I don't know. It was really weird. I my mind is expanding about other species, and this big giant galactic spider has shown up from Arrhenius, and I don't know anything about him except that he's in my space and he's so cool. And I want to channel him, but I haven't done it yet. And when he talks, he's like, I don't know. So I've got to figure out.
That is so crazy.
I've got to figure out what to do with him. But I tried to research it. So if anybody out there in the world of YouTube knows anything about galactic spiders, because I know they exist, I know other channels have talked about them, but I cannot find information to save my life about them. So I'm learning now.
The web weavers of the universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to get to some of these comments and then you guys can jump in. And
Can I say something?
go ahead, Michelle, go.
I just want to, because I just realized something, a tool that's coming that will be so amazing for everybody that wants to join is our solstice event.
Oh, yeah.
Because to me, what we're doing is, I mean, it's hugely powerful for the solstice, but that is going to be a tool that you will have the recording of and can use anytime that you need it going forward. It's going to be
That's a good point.
all about trust, power, love, all of it, magic. It's just like it's
That connection
so
that we all are to each other and to the divine, all of it. It's all that connection. And we're being guided so much on how we use that energy to get through all this craziness. It will be okay.
Yeah. So Lisa, maybe you can tell everybody about that.
Yeah, so our Ring of Fire activation event is on the solstice, and you can register now. It's live. If you go to lisamgunshore.com, it's right on the very top bar, and you can just register. And it's a 2-hour light code activation event for the Ring of Fire on the solstice from 10 a.m. to noon Mountain Time. And if you can't make it live, if you register, you will also get the replay. So yes, that's a good point. Such a good point.
And I can't believe I didn't even think of it, but the Ring of Fire, and I saw the biggest fire I've ever seen in real life, leading up to it. So,
fire energy. I hadn't even connected that either when you guys started this conversation. I didn't even think about that.
Well, and the fact that this airplane was like a ball of fire over the house.
That's the fires. Ring of Fire. So this is an important thing. And like I said, it's, Lisa calls us together. It's always purposeful. It's always beautiful. It's always for that moment and beyond, so.
Well, that's what this is in this moment. I mean, I'm so happy to see. It's like I'm here with all my soul sisters.
Yeah.
Yay. Yay. Oh my gosh. So Yelena, what else is going on over there in your world and in astrology and your thoughts?
I was going to tell you guys too. I've just, exploring the world of herbs and everything to help with some of this energy and this nervous tension that's in the air. Uranus really does affect are we getting feedback a little bit?
A little bit, but it's not too bad, I don't think.
Cool. Uranus does really affect the nervous system and everything in the body as well. So just a little tip for anybody that might be interested that's really been helping me. I have them right here because I got them in the mail recently and I keep them at my desk. But I don't know if anybody's ever heard of this Bach. The Bach flower essences, right? So in our new moon and full moon gatherings that we do with a lot of our students, we've been talking about different herbs and different Bach remedies that we can use for this nervous tension and this anxiety. And two that I've been using myself that I love so much are aspen and walnut. For anybody that needs help with this transition of change and to really ground yourself and help with like anxiety and nervousness and everything like that. So there's just a little suggestion.
Sorry, can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
That as well.
Yeah.
Because aspen, I have a line of flower essences, but I don't do them like Bach. I don't do them where a tincture, I do sprays.
Oh, cool.
So that you've got the flower essence with the salt, which is very grounding, but aspen is perfect. I'm so glad you brought that up because aspen is for fear that you don't know where it's from, like just kind of generalized fear.
So that's why it helps with the anxiety and the nervous tension and everything.
Yes.
It says on here, it helps you to feel more secure and everything.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm really surprised that it's really helping.
oh, flower essences they are beyond. I mean, they're so powerful. You don't really think that they could be, but they are. And aspen it's all for fear, generalized fear, and then feeling safe. Because it's a tree, any type of tree that you use in any form, like an essential oil, a flower essence, an herb, is going to be grounding. That's what they do.
Yeah, definitely. So I just wanted to share that just in case anybody else is feeling that nervous tension in the air, which I'm sure we all are. You know, we're all being really challenged in some way, shape, or form in our lives. But
yeah, it's so true. Well, and you can see like in the comments we have, I've been feeling exhausted. So, oh, hi, Danae. So Danae says, I've been feeling exhausted, no energy, no focus, very weird for me. Anita, her mind does not feel calmer, but her physical body is swelling, extreme hunger, wanting to get the energy out. We also have a comment here from Live Life Spiritual Direction. There's a major fire raging at a plant in Illinois. Oh my gosh. Jay Smith is saying they took the train from Lincoln to Denver and feel very uneasy. So there's definitely a lot of anxious and uneasy energy. And I felt it. My nervous system's been very activated in the last month, which normally isn't. So I was interested about what you said, Yelena, about the, it's Uranus, right? Is that the one?
Also, Lisa, is Mercury is automatically a very neurotic and anxious prone planet. So this Mercury station is automatically associated with everything else that's going on, but it's really bringing that anxiety to a full heightened expression.
Okay, that makes sense too.
So once this Mercury retrograde moves forward and we're out of that energy, I think that should help a little bit for sure. I would say after the first week of July, it should be a little bit more calm and give us a little break.
Well, I asked Kate the same question, but the council keeps saying something on July 2nd. Do you know anything on that astrology that day?
Well, the first week of July is pretty intense anyways, because we have a square with Neptune. Neptune that's an ongoing square. I think I was talking to you about it in our show.
Yeah.
And Neptune can bring this like lack of clarity, this foggy, heavy kind of energy. And that's consecutively happening back to back 3 different times with this Mercury retrograde. So that's just another underlying theme that's kind of adding to the heaviness. I don't know if you guys are hearing this feedback, but it's confusing me. So
I'll try to mute us because sometimes in here I'll mute us and see if that helps.
I think that's a lot better. Yeah. But yes, so this Neptune square, it can also bring, I'm still getting feedback a little bit. That's okay. I'm going to keep trying. This Neptune square, that's way better. Thank you. I was like hearing myself in my head. Okay, so it can bring delusion and deception and illusion and things too. And it's really tied in with this Mercury energy, which is thoughts and communication and the information that we're receiving. And that can be through media sources because Neptune has ties with the media. Gemini has ties with news and just lots of streams and flows of information. So I would say during this time, especially the remainder of the month of June, you guys, and all through July, be really careful and discerning about the information that you're taking in. Really take time to kind of sit with it and think about it. And critical thinking is going to be really important, being very cerebral and like, just use your discernment skills, you guys, because we are receiving a lot of information coming at us from all different angles. And a lot of it is going to not be very accurate and it's going to be deceptive. And we need to be careful in protecting ourselves and sinking into your intuition. I love all the talk about grounding and really kind of going inside and being introspective in the honor of Mercury retrograde, really focusing internally. What does your body want to tell you? What does your mind want to tell you? How do you feel when you hear certain information? It's going to be really important that you focus on that kind of thing, right? Not just take what you're receiving in the media and things for face value. Cutie.
I know, little cauldron. She's very curious about my computer right now.
She's a little Gemini cat, seems like.
Oh, I'm not muted anymore, right?
No, you're not. Go for it, Mary.
I just want to say I actually need to hop off. And you are all wonderful here. Thanks for pulling me in for a few minutes, Lisa. I really appreciate everything that you have been saying, and I appreciated Kate being here. So thank you so much. And I want to also say thank you to all the community. I feel like I've been a part of like a dinner party or something where that's like, okay, what do we all do now? It's been really wonderful. So thank you. Thanks for letting me have a little seat here.
Oh,
And
thank you, Mary. We love you.
Thanks,
Okay,
Mary. Love you.
to run now.
Bye, Mary. We love you.
So much. Bye.
Oh, I love her so much.
Me too.
Oh my
And
God.
I actually have to go as well, Lisa.
I know. I wonder if we should close.
Yeah, because I have a food that I ordered. I have to go pick up as well. I haven't had dinner yet.
Well, you listen, Yelena, thank you for coming in here. I know we have our show in a couple weeks, but I love seeing your face because you just always have such a grounded presence. And so it's so nice to have you here. So I'm glad you popped in because you had a lot of more information. I mean, really, it's amazing because Kate's an astrologer too, but it was like totally new information than what she was sharing. So it was really nice because we got a nice balance. So I'm really glad you popped in. And I'm guessing we'll do this more often because everybody's saying, Anita said this is the best support group ever. And it really is. And I think that's the point of what we did today. And I think we'll do this more often, is just really acknowledging when energy is up and supporting each other and knowing you guys are not alone, clearly, because everybody in this audience today has shared. We've got tons of comments here. Everybody's in the same boat, experiencing things, seeing different things going in. This fire energy is the real deal. So, we can keep talking about this in the app, go over to Jada Casa if you haven't already. And, we'll just keep talking about it. But just again, I think my closing words of wisdom are stay grounded, use your tools, meditation, contemplation, self-inquiry, journaling, use your tools. Michelle, Yelena, what's your closing words of wisdom?
Oh yeah, I would just say tools are number one. That's what I keep telling myself. And I had to make myself get up, move my body, do some yoga. Anything that you can do to just feel good in your body and get that energy moving, because we are responsible for our own energetic field and taking care of that, right? It's not just going to happen for us. We've got this nervous and anxiety. Get out your tool belt. I agree with you 100% on that. But thank you for having me. This is so fun. I love this breaking news thing. I had no idea what I was joining. And I can't wait to do this again. This is fun.
It's so fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yelena.
And nice to meet you too. What was your name again? I'm so sorry.
I'm Michelle.
Michelle, nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you. Yes. Yeah.
Yay. Thank you, Yelena. Michelle, what's your words of wisdom?
Same thing. Just connect with your intuition. Don't forget. And you might have to recalibrate your compass 500 times a day. That's okay. That's what it's there for. And whatever tool works, find it. If something's not working, go to something else. But, we've got them. We've got a plethora of tools in our spiritual toolbox. So you might have to use them all in one day. It's okay. Just keep trying. And don't forget, if you're feeling like weird, somebody else is feeling weird. So go in the app and post about it and get a conversation going and feel better.
Yeah, it's true. And I think I don't know what I'd do without you, Michelle. You're just one of my soul sisters, and Mary and April and Elaine, I
Amen.
mean, just everybody, and Kate showed up today. I mean, you know what, you guys, I love all of you out there in the
Yes.
community and in the audience. And I love you, Michelle. And I love that Kate and Yelena and Mary and Claire, thank you for showing
Yes.
up today and talking, because it is kind of exactly like everybody's saying. This is like our little support group, but it also, I hope this helps everyone, is just to know there are things coming, but not everything is as it appears. So get your information from your third eye in the morning before you open your stupid phone and look at the news, and see what's going on first. And trust in the divine plan of it all, because there is stuff to happen. It's not going to look at all like anybody thinks. I don't care what narrative you're in. And just take a deep breath and stay with it. So this just was awesome. And Michelle, neither of us are very happy about the fireballs by our house today, but I'm very happy that we got to connect, and hopefully we got to help a lot of you guys out there today.
Yes. Amen. Yes. Amen. And thank you, everybody who joined us. Love your comments and love the energy. So thank you.
I love you. I love you all. Bye, guys.